Good evening and thank you for joining us for tonight's bulletin. My name is Tiffany Wamboy. Our sign language interpreter is Boniface Muredi. Now on our first story for today, President William Ruto has today chaired his first paperless cabinet meeting in efforts to align with the government's digital transition agenda and the battle against climate change effects. Speaking during the cabinet meeting at State House, Nairobi, President Ruto assured that services will be easily accessible to Kenyans online, eliminating the need to stand in long queues for services. He further noted that the move will enhance service delivery through fostering efficiency. The move is expected to significantly reduce the cost of printing and ensure the safety of cabinet records. And elsewhere, various legislators have today visited the home of the late Professor George Magoha to condole with the family. High-profile officials, including former President Uhuru Kenyatta and his wife Margaret Kenyatta, DAP-K party leader Eugene Wamalwa, Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, as well as various cabinet secretaries, made their way to the Lavington residence earlier today in a bid to condole with the family. President Uhuru, while citing Magoha's cooperation with the former administration, assured the family of his support. He described the late professor as one who was sincere, loyal, and walked his talk. At the same time, former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i acknowledged Magoha as one who was impartial and unbiased, as he did not engage in divisive ethnic politics. And elsewhere, the Azimio leader Raila Odinga has urged the African continent to ensure only credible elections are carried out across the continent. Raila made the remarks while addressing the Leadership Conference and Awards in Abuja, Nigeria, that he attended the invitation of the leadership group. According to Raila, Africa has, since the reintroduction of multi-party politics in the 1990s, witnessed a steady deterioration of the quality and credibility of elections. We will have highlights of that story, but we have others elsewhere. Doctors under the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union have issued a fresh strike notice after cases of medics committing suicide due to unemployment escalate. KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela says 7 doctors have died by suicide in the last 2 years due to depression over unemployment. And 4 days ago, another doctor, Fred Mwoki, is said to have taken his life in Kangundo over what he alleged to be frustrations due to unemployment. Davji revealed that Mwoki had left a note saying he could not bear to see his family suffer, yet he was a graduate.
The doctors are very angry. KMPDU has been making noise every day, every week. We call you guys here, raising the same issues. But now it's time to do the other alternative action. Because we can't have a country where every month we have to go to the streets to get our salaries. I know counties where people don't pay for 2 months, where you have loan deductions on your pay slip and they don't remit to the banks. In CRB, doctors are like the highest number of civil servants. You don't have a medical cover. In Nairobi County, we almost shut down because NHIF locked them out in non-payment of the dues. It's a shame. You see governors launching buildings all over the place, but nothing about the healthcare worker. We are angry and we are pissed off because these young colleagues are the same kids you are carrying on TV the other day for getting A's, saying their dreams are to be doctors and surgeons. Their mistake was just to work hard in school, be disciplined, and work hard in college. And now they are back there. Their families celebrate their graduations. Then you have a child going down, you watch your child going down through depression.
This is not, you think this is not your issue until you land in that hospital and it is your issue. Then at that point, we start saying our public hospitals have no supplies, they have no staff. While we are in a position to do something about it, we just choose to sit back and say, this is a doctor's problem. Dear colleagues and the media and the government at large and the whole country, I want to encourage everybody, take this up upon yourself. Make a difference now while you can. Do not wait for that moment when you get an accident and go to a level 5 or level 4 facility and there's no doctor.
We as union demand that both the national government and the county government must put in place a mechanism to have an annual recruitment of healthcare workers, annual recruitment of doctors that will ensure that the country sees the ratio of doctors to patients be 1 to 1,000, not as it is currently of 1 to 17,000. We also demand that there's need to have a centralized management of human resource. Previously, in the year 2015, 2016, thereabout, all the doctors who graduated were centrally employed from the Ministry of Health. From 2017, after devolution, I will say confidently that less than 500 doctors have been employed in the whole country by the county government. Where will Kenyans get health care? Where will Kenyans get services? We're also demanding for full implementation of the CBA 2017.
And elsewhere, the Milimani Law Court will tomorrow rule on whether to continue holding Korogocho member of County Assembly Absalom Odhiambo Onyango over allegations of uttering inciting remarks. Onyango was presented in court today, a day after he was arrested at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission offices, where he had gone to honor summons over remarks he made during a rally convened by the Azimio la Umoja coalition leaders at Kamkunji grounds just a week ago. Melissa Odor with more.
The vocal Korogosho MCA spent the night in police custody in the neighboring Kiambu County after DCI detectives arrested him Monday as he presented himself to the National Cohesion and Integration Commission offices. The NCIC had issued summons over remarks that the MCA, popularly known as Matakwe or Mobimba, made in a video that went viral on social media. In the video, captured at the Kamkunji grounds during the Azimio rally, the MCA is captured criticizing the Kenya Kwanza leadership while stirring up Azimio supporters.
Baba, kuna njia ingine. Tunataka tutoke, tuende Ikulu, tutoe huyo mwizi Ikulu. Na mimi nataka niseme namna hii. Lazima tuingie town, tufunge na biashara. Hakuna biashara itaendelea hii capital city of Nairobi.
The Reverend Samuel Kobia-led commission said the comments created unnecessary tension and, if not managed, could plunge the country into chaos. In an application filed before Milimani Law Courts, the DCI, through investigating officer Sergeant Francis Mwita, sought to continue holding the MCA pending the conclusion of the investigations into the allegations of incitement to violence and disobedience of the law contrary to Section 96 of the Penal Code, Chapter 63, Laws of Kenya. However, the defense lawyers led by Danstan Umari opposed the request, saying that Odhiambo cannot escape and that his prosecution is political. He vowed to defend his client to the fullest extent of the law.
We will defend viciously, ferociously, all Azimio people be arrested on trumped up charges. The constitution is still in place. The abuse of the criminal justice system as it was previously. Everybody has seen that everybody was arrested this way. Their cases have been withdrawn. We urge the state to avoid using the criminal justice system.
Omari, who urged the judiciary to give the lawmaker a fair hearing, also urged Kenyans to stand firm against any miscarriage of justice.
We have put the judiciary to notice that let the judiciary remain firm and let it not be used for political purposes. We are ready to move to every court in this country, and I'm on record to have even gone up to the East African Court of Justice to defend our clients.
The advocate also urged the court to pronounce itself on the matter of 7 days detention of suspects facing incitement charges, citing the case of Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi.
We hope the court will make its final ruling on the question of detaining somebody for 7 days, because we relied on the authority of Oscar Sudi, who at that time was also being arrested, that he was trying to incite the state, the country, into a national crisis. So now Oscar Sudi is on the other side. We are now saying the MCA here should not also face the same that they faced.
The leader of majority in the Nairobi County Assembly, Patrick Imotok, who was accompanied by other MCAs, filed in court in support of their colleague. Imotok defended Onyango over his utterances.
We must pass Ikulu way. And he expressed himself by asking our supporters not to go and do business as we are proceeding to Jacaranda. He never said that he wants all business to be closed. He was assuring our supporters not to participate in business on that particular day, but to present themselves to Jacaranda to welcome our President Raila Amolo Odinga and his team. Therefore, members of the Fourth Estate, we are here in solidarity, and we are saying this loud and clear. There is no need of arresting a member of County Assembly, member of the public, the parliamentarians. Kindly, yesterday, as members of the County Assembly, we addressed the media and said, kindly, we asked the state actors to arrest one called Raila Amolo Odinga.
The County Assembly leader dared the state organs to also arrest the top Azimio leaders, saying their colleague was being used as a scapegoat.
DC Housing at Britam House on Wednesday, the police accosted him as we were getting out of the offices and arrested him. Unfortunately, we expected him to be taken either to Kilimani, Capitol Hill Police Station, Ama Central Police Station, but he was driven all the way to another jurisdiction at Kiambu County. Therefore, today, our lawyers accompany him from Kiambu County to this court, where he's being presented before the court.
The courts will tomorrow rule on whether to detain the Korogosho MCA for 7 days. For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Melissa Oduor.
Thank you, Melissa, for that report. Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome has presided over the launch of the report on women in law and leadership organized by the Institute for African Women in Law. The study, which also covered South Africa, Nigeria and Senegal, shows that despite strides made by women in the legal profession, many challenges still exist for women's upward mobility. Grace Ahati has the details.
Women in law are a common sight in Africa and are able to practice their career without restrictions. African countries have over time celebrated many of them for scaling even greater heights into leadership and influence many spheres. According to the report findings from 4 countries, namely Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria and Senegal, women in the legal profession still face many challenges despite the strides made over the years. Speaking during a fireside chat with the executive director of the Institute of African Women in Law, Professor Jarpa Dauni, Chief Justice Martha Koome said that women can make a difference in changing institutional structures and cultures, as well as promoting and expanding equal opportunities for women and other vulnerable groups to access justice. Koome has called upon women in the judiciary to support each other through the challenges that they face as they deliver justice to all.
In the judiciaries, women in the bar, women in the academy, lawyers, need to work together, need to support one another, need to realize the challenges that we face, all of us, so that we can remain focused on what we need to do for our communities, for our country, and for the world.
The Chief Justice further commended the veteran women in the legal profession for setting the pace for young professionals and equally extending their support to them. Notable among them are women in law who have dared to seek the highest political seat in the land and those credited with mentoring the upcoming women legal practitioners.
When I became a lawyer in 1987, then the Justice Nancy Barasa, Lilian Mwaura, people like Martha Karua, this is what they did. They extended their hand to hold us so that we can take the next step and the next step and keep climbing. And what we are doing today is to maintain that climb that we have done over the years.
The Chief Justice was categorical that she stands for the independence of the judiciary and would relish the creation of a strong judiciary that can support Kenya's democracy.
When I came, I found the judiciary, our Judicial Training Institute, had been taken and given to another government agency. And we were told to go and look for another place. And when I arrived, I was told, by the way, there is no Judicial Training Institute. We have been given notice to quit Muthaiga. But don't worry, we have gone and asked the governor of Kajiado, who was kind to give us some 10 acres in Namanga to build a Judicial Institute. I said, wait a minute. We leave our land in Muthaiga for a government agency which is not a arm of the government, and then we go and train judges in Namanga. Excuse me. How can one hand take from the other? I stand for the independence of the judiciary. I stand for the strength of the institution. And independence of the judiciary does not just come It comes with human resource capacity for us to be able to deliver service. It comes with the infrastructure, physical, and also technological, for us to be on the cutting edge.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you, Grace Ahati, for that report. Now, shifting gears, the Ministry of East African Community, ASOLS, and Regional Development has announced plans to prioritize building bamboo cottage industries in Narok County to facilitate income generation for farmers. Speaking at Kisiriri area in Narok North Sub-County, Regional Development Principal Secretary Idris Salim Dokota said investing in bamboo farming is in line with the presidential directive to plant over 15 billion trees in a period of 10 years. This even as the Ewasonyiro South Development Authority is putting up a bamboo seedling nursery holding over 20,000 seedlings. ENSDA Managing Director Ngala Oloitiptip said the authority has planted over 14,000 acres under bamboo at Nkoben, which is part of the Masai Mau Forest. Oloitiptip revealed they have been collaborating with the Kenya Forest Service and like-minded agencies to boost the forest cover.
Currently, as ENSDA, we have approximately 1,400 acres under bamboo within the Mau, and we intend to continuously grow that. It's part of our project, it's our long-term project, and we are also calling upon our sister agencies in the Environment Ministry to collaborate with us so that we can be able to make this a success. We intend very soon to start the cottage industry of this bamboo, but eventually, because you've seen this land is around 10 acres, what our intent or our target was is to put up a bamboo factory. And as you know, bamboo has a lot of uses, and we intend to put that into use. So we are calling upon the government to support this project so that we can have it started. But now with the assurance of the PS and the State Department, we see that that one is going to be realized soon.
It is actually very useful tree when it comes to our value chain. So investing in this project is of paramount importance. One, it is in line with the directives, with the presidential directives that we need to plant around 15 billion trees. So this project, it is in line with that directive. And the other part is, it is also part of the environmental conservation and climate change adaptation. So another area that this project fits in is that the project is aimed at creating employment opportunities through MSMEs, and the SMEs, through promotion of MSMEs, and the MSMEs will lead to actually creation of cottage industries around here.
Right, and we take our first short break here on Newswatch. We will be back with these and more updates. Stay tuned.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel like they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi. This week on Testify.
And I'm just meeting with my friends, but I'm telling no one. You know, no one knows that I'm now getting depressed. I'm just laughing with my friends. And now I decided to take my own life. But now what is keeping me here is meeting with my friends.
Yeah.
Because I have to play the part. I have to to get out and let's laugh together, and everything is okay. I don't have any problems. But now I'm like, on Friday, I'll just take my life.
Hope TV. Look and live.
Thank you for staying tuned to Newswatch. Now, farmers in Tana River County have been urged to utilize the multi-million Galole Integrated Fruit Processing Factory set up by the Coast Development Authority. Principal Secretary, State Department for Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development Idris Salim Dakota asked local farmers to embrace the factory as a lucrative source of revenue for their produce. Gloria Musimbi with more details.
The Principal Secretary in the State Department of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, ASOLs and Regional Development, Idris Salim Dakota, today had a familiarization tour to assess the progress of the multi-million Galole Integrated Food Processing Factory set up by the Coast Development Authority, CDA, and met with local mango farmers in Tana River County. The PS urged local farmers to wait for mangoes to grow to maturity and sell to CDA's fruit processing plant instead of selling to brokers who have infiltrated the market, offering instant cash and exposing them to huge losses. He also said farmers must avoid middlemen if they are to reap big from their produce, saying often the brokers were benefiting at the expense of the farmers.
Ambacho nataka mtusaidie tu kimoja. Ile pesa ya haraka msikubali, kwa sababu mkikubali ile pesa ya haraka tuweze ajiri mtu hapa, mtuletee maembe. Hata kama kwanza tuanze na hii mashini iliyoko, maana yake yenyewe inakaa idle saa nyingine. Mtusaidie kutuletea maembe kwa wingi. Alafu baada ya mwaka moja mtuulize uajiri. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba tu hiyo, kwa sababu msipoleta maembe hapa, sasa wewe unamuuzia mtu anakuja kukupatia pesa ndogo, anaenda zake, wakati huo mtoto wako hajaajiriwa. Lakini sisi kutuletea kazi ikiwa nyingi hapa, tutachukua watu, so unakuwa na faida mara ngapi? Mara mbili.
PS Dakota said the factory will contribute to changing the economic face of Tana River and neighboring counties at large, helping farmers to process their mangoes, create employment opportunities, adding that the government is working tirelessly to create a more conducive and inclusive business environment.
Kwa nyinyi mkitaka mutambulike na serikali, maembe yenu yaleteni hapa, maana hichi ni kiwanda ambacho kinatambulika na serikali. Ili na nyinyi kesho mkija kudai ile haki yenu, ile share yenu, simetana lakini farmers wame. Kwa hivyo mimi na saha yangu kubwa ni hiyo.
CDA Managing Director Dr. Mohamed Kenan said the factory cannot rely on Tana River alone for raw materials, hence the need for neighboring counties to grow mangoes to meet the quality of raw materials the factory needs. He added that the Galole facility has also been expanded to start processing pineapples and passion fruits and drinking water to keep it running to full capacity.
This project have costed us 100 million, both the mango line and the water line. And as you see, we really have to sensitize the farmers so that we can make this factory work. This factory is supposed to serve the mango farmers in the 4 counties of Kenya: Garissa, Tana River, Lamu, and Kilifi. Therefore, we expect the farmers to bring their produce here so that we can caution them against any post-harvest loss.
Speaking on behalf of the farmers, Jilo Saleh said that despite the potential, the capacity of the factory was still not enough to process their yield.
Huu mtambo sisi tukiukisia so far paka sahi bado ni mdogo. Unahitajika mtambo mkubwa wenye unaweza kuleta competition na vile viwanda vya nje, ili ndio tuwawezeshe wakulima waongeze production kwao, ndio walete hapa maembe tuanze kusaga, ikiwa mtambo uko na ile plan ya kwamba unaweza kuchukua mali yetu kwa wingi.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
And elsewhere overseas, a second wave of French protests and strikes is underway against President Emmanuel Macron's plans to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. 8 big unions are taking part in the strike, which has disrupted schools, public transport and oil refineries. Marches are taking place across France, involving hundreds of thousands of people after a first day of action attracted more than 1 million people. The Macron government is pushing ahead with its pension age reforms in the face of opinion polls that suggest 2/3 of voters are opposed to the changes, which begin their passage through the National Assembly next week. A reported 11,000 police officers were deployed to cover the demonstrations taking place in some 200 towns and cities. And in our business news for today, Bliss Healthcare Board of Directors has announced changes to its leadership structure with the appointment of Dr. Dennis Ogolla as the new Chief Operating Officer. This follows the promotion of its former Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Gabriel Njue, to the role of the Chief Executive Officer. Dr. Ogolla has over 22 years of experience in the healthcare industry and is a seasoned executive with extensive practical experience in healthcare management. Speaking after the announcement, Dr. Ogolla pledged commitment to the firm's continued success through increased service delivery and expansion. Bliss Healthcare is currently Kenya's largest network of outpatient medical centers, with 65 centers spread across 37 counties. And elsewhere, retail chain Bed Bath & Beyond is set to seek bankruptcy protection this week and has further lined up liquidators to close additional stores unless a last-minute buyer emerges. The timing of any bankruptcy filing was in flux Monday evening, with the U.S. home goods retailers' advisors locked in meetings, exploring any remaining options to avoid it. Bed Bath & Beyond is negotiating a loan to help it navigate bankruptcy proceedings, with investment firm 6th Street in talks to provide some funding. The firm loaned Bed Bath & Beyond 375 million shillings last year. And in our sports news for today, Arsenal have agreed to a £12 million deal with Chelsea to sign Italy midfielder Jorginho. The 31-year-old who joined Chelsea from Napoli in 2014 is into the final 6 months of his contract at Stamford Bridge. He will now have medical before signing an 18-month contract with the option of a further year. The Gunners turned their attention to Jorginho after having 2 bids rejected by Brighton for Moises Caicedo. Brighton says Caicedo is not for sale, and it looks increasingly likely the Ecuador midfielder will remain at the club after the 11 p.m. deadline. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin for today. My name is Tiffany Umboy. Our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Mureithi. Do have a wonderful evening ahead.